about the fixing?
Good morning, everyone. This is the June 11th, 2025 regular meeting of the Nags Head Board of Commissioners is hereby called to order. I will ask you if you will please join me in a few moments of silence. Now, if you'll stand as you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin our business, I want to recognize some dignitaries who were in the room this morning. Former Mayor Bob Oakes is with us this morning. Welcome, Bob. Glad to see you again. Former Commissioner Webb Fuller is here this morning, and former Mayor Bob Mueller is with us this morning. Welcome to all of you. The next item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda, and a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That brings us to introduction of lifeguards, and we will begin with Chad. This will be the first time, when COVID came, we had to switch to virtual introductions for the lifeguards. This is going to be the first time in a while that we've had the whole crew in the room. It's always a fun day when we get to meet our new crew for the beach. I said there was about 50.
Keep coming. Keep coming. All the way down here.
And while they're arranging themselves, I'll note that former Mayor Renee Cahoon has also joined us this morning. Welcome, Renee.
Come full circle. Go right back out the door.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Chad Moats, captain with Nags Ocean Rescue, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning. It's the first time since 2019 that we've been in person at this meeting. So big year for Nags Ocean Rescue. This is our 50th year in operation. So the organization started in 1975. And for me, this is my 25th year working for the organization. I started in 2001. So to have been here and part of this organization for half of its existence is pretty cool as well. We have a big summer. This is a big staff we have here. We ran our first training session in May and got operational on the beach Memorial Day weekend, and then we brought our second training group in last week, our June group, and they'll finish up the 19th of June, and then we'll up staff on the beach and be in full swing until mid-August when things start winding down. But we're super excited. I've got some exciting things happening with not just Ocean Rescue, but out there on the beach this summer. We've got, again, it's our 50th anniversary. We've got a documentary coming out that Roberta is going to touch on here in a minute. We're also hosting some competitions this summer. So our local series competition started last week. We did very well. And we've got our second local competition tonight at Ocean Bay and Kittle Hills, and then we'll be hosting our local event series next Wednesday down at Jeanette's. And then in July, we're proud to host our regional championships. So we'll be inviting organizations from Virginia Beach down through Jacksonville Beach, Florida, to come here for 2 days of competition. Yeah, it's a good way to celebrate our 50th year, so we're excited for that. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to have these guys step up to the podium here and introduce themselves. Again, happy to be here and looking forward to a good summer.
Hi everyone, my name is Dunya. I'm from the 51 state. Canada, Montreal, and I'm a second year lifeguard for Nags and Ocean Rescue.
Hi everyone, I'm Luke LePage, and this is my, I was born and raised in the Outer Banks. This is my 5th year doing ocean rescue and my 3rd year doing ocean rescue with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Very good.
Hi everybody, I'm Max Janisic. I'm from Wanchese, North Carolina, and this is my 3rd year at Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Very good.
My name's Caleb Hooper. This is my 3rd year with Ocean Rescue, and I'm also from Wanchese, North Carolina.
Very good.
Hey, my name's Cormac. I was born in Nags Head. I'm still living in Nags Head. This is my 3rd year.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and this is my 1st year at Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Finn. I'm from Nags Head, and this is my 1st year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue. Hi, I'm Beatrice. This is my 3rd year with Nags Head, and I'm from Quebec, Canada.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm from Southern Shores, North Carolina, and this is my 5th year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name's Kendall. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, and this is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hello everyone, I'm Vanessa. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Brianna. This is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue, and I'm from Kildova Hills, North Carolina.
Hi, my name is Maddie. This is my 1st year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue, and I'm from Berlin, Germany.
Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm from Manio, and this is my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and this is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Ariane. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 1st year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Justine. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 1st year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Morning, everyone. My name's Mason. I'm from Currituck, and this is my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Good morning. My name's Aaron Davis, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. It's my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Lawrence. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Megan. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 1st year at Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina. This is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Isabel. This is my 1st year at Nags Head Ocean Rescue, and I'm from Montreal, Canada.
Hi, my name is Rosie. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and this is going to be my 3rd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my 2nd year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and it's my 1st year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Good morning, I'm Fred. I'm from Notre-Dame du Portage in Quebec, and this is my 3rd season with the organization.
Good morning, my name is Jacob. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia. This is my 5th year with Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
I'm Matthew Bergeron from Quebec, Canada, and this is going to be my 2nd year working for Nags Head Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Ronnie. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and it's my first year with Nags Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Philip. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and this is my first year with Nags Ocean Rescue.
Hey y'all, my name is John. I'm from the city of Westmount, Canada, and this is my first year with Nags Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is Jacob Gilbaugh. This is my 5th year with Nags Ocean Rescue, and I'm from Montreal, Canada.
Yeah, good morning. I just want to say thank you for having us. I'm Michael from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is my 5th year.
Good morning, my name's Sean Kenny. I was born and raised in Nags Head, and this is my 15th year.
Hi, my name's David. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, and this is my first year with Nags Ocean Rescue.
Hi, my name is William. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and this is my first year at Nags.
Hi, my name is Victor. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and this is my first year with Nags Ocean Rescue.
Hey, I'm Nick Gentry. I'm from Richmond, and this is my 7th year.
Again, thank you guys. This is the majority of our staff. There are actually a few people that couldn't make it here this morning, but again, we're excited for a great summer, and thank you to the town for the continued support. And Roberta has a special little topic to announce as well.
I'm Roberta. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'd like to invite everyone to an exciting event we're going to hold on Tuesday, July 15th at Jeanette's Pier. We're introducing a new, or premiering a new mini film or short film. It's called the Nags Head Ocean Rescue Story. I screwed that up, sorry. Service and Heroism, the Nags Head Ocean Rescue Story. It's not just a documentary, it's a story of the heart. You all know this, the heart and the work and the real life rescues that you do and how you're prepared every day to save someone's life. It's not easy here being an ocean rescue guard, I know that. And we are highlighting all that you've done and the incredible history we've had and the first that we have done in this story. So it's going to be held again Tuesday, July 15th at 7 p.m., the night before the USLA Regional Championships. One mother in the film, who appears in the film, said, "It was just another day at the beach until it wasn't." And that sums up how life can change so quickly. And without the help of you all, thankfully, life doesn't change that quickly and things can turn out very well. So the event is free, but we're asking people to register because seating is limited. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you to all of you. Welcome, bienvenue, welcome to quite an international crew here that we have this year, and we are very grateful. As Roberta said, we're very grateful for your service. One of the things that I want the residents to know is that we are building lifeguard housing. We hope to have that online for next year. So we try to be as good to y'all as we can possibly be, and we're glad. It sounds like you're excited to be here, and we're glad you're excited to be here, and we look forward to a great summer. So thank you for coming in, Roberta.
In my nervousness, I forgot that we're going to show a trailer.
Oh.
Get everybody excited. Sorry about that.
Let's roll the trailer then.
I think there's a few different traits that come with wanting to be an ocean lifeguard. I think that's confidence, I think that's being driven, and I think it's a duty of responsibility. A large part that keeps bringing me back year after year is the community outreach. I really enjoy interacting with the locals and the visitors. I really enjoy teaching someone who may not know anything about the ocean, just something that they can keep with them, that I have made some sort of impact on their lives.
I think some of the most rewarding things is when you make a difference in somebody's life and they're able to go home and have dinner with their family and stuff at the end of the day.
Nags Head Ocean Rescue is doing incredibly heroic things on a daily basis, and we don't always get to witness that. And it's just reassuring to me as a local to know that they're out here patrolling our beaches.
You're a part of something that's bigger than yourself, with years of tradition and experience and people. It was just awesome to be a part of.
I feel blessed to be part of it and have the job I do. I mean, it's an awesome job. It's a privilege to live here in the Outer Banks and do the job I do, and it wouldn't be possible without all the people that come and visit here every year.
Thank you, and we'll let you guys clear the room. I know you'd rather be outside than inside. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We see a video and they don't all come in. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was symbolic having them sit over here too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, that's true.
Really
But I
cool.
mean, when we've had them in here before, they've usually not sort of voted.
Yeah, there's some missing.
But yeah, that's, anyway.
Powerful.
It's just amazing how many different candidates.
All right. That brings us next to the recognition of a new employee, and Amy Miller will come to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Good morning. Please join me in welcoming our new Customer Services Representative, Abigail Larson, to our team. Abigail recently relocated here from Massachusetts with her husband as he accepted a job in Manio. She has a degree in marine biology and worked in a hatchery before she moved here. It's really not a stretch to see how transferable her skills in that position are in this position. She did a lot of public engagement and training and managed work to ensure efficient and smooth operations. She came highly recommended from Jan, who has a great compass for people. When Jan did her reference checks, she had glowing reviews, and the adjectives that were used to describe her included great work ethic, detail-oriented, organized, good communication skills, innovative, which is one of our town values, thorough, meticulous, and fantastic. I'll add quick learner, embracing new technology and software, and she just has like a really pleasant and calming energy to be around. I really can't imagine anybody that couldn't get along with her. She's already, unfortunately, had to diffuse some situations at the front, which we appreciate. She handled it beautifully, being brand new. We really appreciated that dynamic that she brought. She does offer great customer service. She grew up in Martha's Vineyard, so she's no stranger to hospitality and engaging with both visitors and residents and homeowners in a professional and friendly manner. I think we are very fortunate to have a very well-rounded person in the front. She's very kind, representing the town. She enjoys assisting others, and she really brings the entire skill set that you need to provide excellent customer service, contributing to the town's success. So we want to welcome Abigail and her family as part of our community with being recently moved here. We think she's the perfect fit for the town family and aligns with our internal town values. We're proud to have her on the front line representing the town. So thank you, Abigail and Christine.
That brings us next to a recognition for 10 years of service, and Nancy Carolyn.
Good morning, Mayor, Board. I'd like to recognize this morning Jason Brickhouse for his 10 years of service to the town. From sanitation trucks to weed eaters, with a mixture of cars, trucks, backhoes, and loaders, thrown in for good measure, fleet maintenance services a variety of equipment to keep our town rolling this time of year. Jason has the ability to service all of them. Jason was at the ripe old age of 21 when he started as Fleet Mechanic 1 with the town in 2015. With the skills and knowledge he has learned, he has advanced to senior fleet mechanic. He is also an accomplished welder. Jason can safely operate any given piece of equipment or vehicle the town has. He is sent out on road calls to troubleshoot and repair issues that arise. He does not hesitate to ask for assistance when it's needed, as he believes two heads are better than one. His coworkers agree Jason has a plethora of mechanical knowledge. They also agree that he likes to figure out how things work and make repairs almost as much as he enjoys steak, fishing, and his dog Daisy. Thank you, Jason.
Nice. And Nancy is going to stay right there for a recognition for 30 years of service. Wow.
I'd like to recognize David Perry for his 30 years with the town. David began his career with the town in May of 1995. It was a time when, May through September, water operations processed water from the fresh pond, and the original Public Works complex on Lark, which has now been replaced, was almost new. This time is what is referred to as back in the day. In the spring of 2004, David was there to show me the ropes in fresh pond operations. Because fresh pond did not process year-round, each spring was a brand new startup. David's steady step-by-step process of calibrating instruments, calculating chemical dosages, water testing, and general equipment maintenance ensured everything had been checked and double-checked before the fresh pond was put into service for the season. In the last 21 years, David has trained 8 new water operators in treatment. He is a natural-born teacher and always willing to share what he knows with others. David is state certified as an A surface, A well, and A distribution water operator and technician. He also has a physical chemical wastewater license. David was Public Works nominee for Employee of the Year in 2006 and 2009. He was promoted to Chief Operator in 2013 and to Water Operations Superintendent in 2022. He also won second place in the chili cook-off that year. John Richardson, the water superintendent that hired David in 1995, said on more than one occasion how quickly he adapted to the role of water plant operator, and David's mechanical inclination and his ability to troubleshoot contributed greatly to the operations of Fresh Pond and the plant. Comments from his co-workers are, congratulations on 30 years with the town, has helped me in many times with pipe work designs. He is a great mentor to new employees getting into water, great working side by side with him, and his knowledge and ingenuity are much appreciated. David prefers to be out of the limelight, so I'm keeping this short. I would like to personally thank him for all he's done for water and the town of Nags Head.
That's great. 30 years is fantastic. Appreciate you, man.
I'm going to ask David to stay and for the board to come around. Nags Head is so fortunate to have these employees who stay for 10, 20, 30 years, which is really amazing, which is a tribute to their love for the work they do. But we also hope that Nags Head is a good place to work for those folks as well. The next item on our agenda is the presentation of the 2025 Lightkeeper and Nags Header Awards. I will tell you that this is one of the board's favorite days of the entire year because we get to see some folks we haven't seen in a long time, and we get to recognize some very special people who've made massive contributions to the town of Nags Head. And I'm going to start this morning with the Nags Header. The Nags Header Award posthumously recognizes individuals who have significantly influenced the town's culture since its incorporation in 1961. Dr. Bruce Matthew Borch was such a person. His quiet leadership, tireless dedication, and far-reaching vision have shaped our community. A proud Navy veteran with a master's degree in biology and a PhD in fisheries, Bruce worked for several municipalities and environmental firms before starting with the town in 1985 as its code compliance officer. Bruce brought to his work a rare combination of technical expertise and a deep passion for protecting the character and natural beauty of this special place. Over the years, Bruce was instrumental in the development of countless projects and policies that laid the foundation for the Nags Head we know and love today. To start, Bruce was one of the two lead authors of Pre-Storm Mitigation and Post-Storm Reconstruction, a plan for Nags Head, a visionary blueprint for storm preparedness and recovery. This pioneering work earned national acclaim, receiving both the 1990 Legislative Award from the National Hurricane Conference and the 1989 Small Community Outstanding Planning Award from the North Carolina chapter of the American Planning Association. Its impact reached beyond Nags Head, with FEMA incorporating its key elements into national planning guidelines. As the town's planner and later as deputy planning director, Bruce was also the primary author of numerous land use and water use plans, helping the town grow responsibly and sustainably. He developed Nags Head's water allocation ordinance, which protected our community from a building moratorium between 1989 and 1992. Perhaps most visibly, he helped shape the village at Nags Head, converting its master plan into a village zoning ordinance that we still use today. His work led to the creation of commercial architectural and residential standards that continue to preserve the town's unique identity. And while many of his achievements were behind the scenes, their effects are all around us. From the public beach accesses and conservation lands funded by his grant writing, to the vegetative buffers that give Nags Head its signature green appearance, Bruce's hand has touched nearly every corner of our community. He was key to the town's efforts in protecting Nags Head Woods, helping to pass the landmark SED 80 ordinance before the land was ever formally conserved. That ordinance has served as a model for environmental protection across the state. Bruce was also instrumental in developing the town's initial impact fee program, which helped ensure that the cost of new public infrastructure and services that were needed as a result of new development were covered. Notably, Bruce, working with Mayor Bob Mueller, Town Manager Webb Fuller, and Water Quality Coordinator, Environmental Planner Todd Kraft, played a pivotal role in development of what was originally known as the Septic Health Initiative. Launched to improve water quality and protect public health, the program was one of the first of its kind in the state. Bruce's foresight and technical knowledge were key to its creation and early implementation. He recognized the importance of proactive septic system management in a coastal environment and worked to establish a voluntary inspection and maintenance program that has since become a model for other communities. In addition to his work with the town, Bruce also shared his knowledge as an educator, teaching biology and ecology at the College of the Albemarle from 1984 to 1991. His passion for the natural world and commitment to public service extended to the classroom, where he inspired future generations to value science, sustainability, and stewardship. Beyond the policies, initiatives, programs, and plans, Bruce brought something deeper: judgment, fairness, and unwavering integrity. Whether he was navigating complex enforcement issues or shaping long-range plans and ordinances for Nags Head's future, he did so with a calm, steady hand and a steadfast commitment to doing what was right for the community. His ability to balance technical expertise with a strong moral compass earned him trust and respect of all those who worked with him. Bruce retired as our planning director in 2009 and swapped the beach for the mountains of western North Carolina. Eventually, he and his wife Cindy returned to the Outer Banks in 2022. Sadly, Bruce passed away in February of this year at the age of 79. Today, we honor not only a remarkable career, but a remarkable life. Though Bruce is no longer with us, his vision, his service, and his lasting impact continue to shape the town of Nags Head in profound ways. It is with deep gratitude and respect that we present Dr. Bruce Bortz with the Nags Header Award. His legacy lives on in the land he helped protect, the policies he helped craft, and the community he helped build. Thank you. I will ask Cindy and her family to please come up and the board to come around. We have a small presentation. We have a plaque this morning that reads, 2025 Nags Header Award, in honor of the footprints left in the legacy of living life, Nags Head style. The town of Nags Head hereby recognizes Bruce M. Bortz with the Nags Header Award for the contributions which helped shape the image and direction of the town of Nags Head. Anything that you would like to say?
We never knew. He was so quiet about what he did. And he loved Nags Head, and he loved working here. And even came back for a little bit, didn't he? So, thank you very much.
I think we all remember Bruce so fondly that I asked how tall he was this morning. I always had the impression he was 6'2", but I always had the impression he was kind of this gentle giant. You know, when you spoke to him, he had that wonderful voice, but he always made his point to you. Is there, Bob or Webb, is there anyone who would like to speak just very briefly about your recollection? I caught you off guard, but
That's
I know
okay.
you can do it.
There are a number of us here who worked with Bruce, but Bruce was in the middle of everything that made Nags Head Nags Head. I mean, it's difficult for me to grasp just how influential he was. You mentioned the development of impact fees. We spent 3 years working through a process of the Hated Tischler plan, and then impact fees, and then our first capital improvements plan. SED 80 came out of the blue, again, from Bruce Bortz. There is virtually no aspect of development in Nags Head that Bruce Bortz did not have a major hand in, be it house size ordinances, be it, as you mentioned, the now Todd D. Kraft Septic Health Initiative. I'll tell you a story. Why not? We were working as Bruce, myself, Dave Oaksmith, Webb, and a couple other members of the Septic Health Initiative Task Force. We're working on the plan. We were in touch with some folks from NC State, Bob Rubin and another professor from NC State, and they were holding a they're holding a seminar in Roper on local government management of wastewater systems. And Bruce and I signed up, and we drove out, and we found the professor sitting on the curb at the Vernon E. James Center, and we said, "Are we waiting for anybody else?" I said, "No, you're it." And they put us went into one of the classrooms, and we sat there, and Bruce defended, the professors did not believe that a staff person and an elected official from a coastal community were actually interested in protecting on-site wastewater. They were sure that we were there to find some way to replace on-site wastewater with a centralized system that allowed growth. And it took us about an hour with Bruce leading the way to convince them that, in fact, we were very serious about it. And after about the first hour, they started to realize, hey, maybe we were serious about it, and they turned around, and Bob Rubin remains involved with the program today. Bob Rubin helped us apply for an EPA grant that we didn't get, but was very instrumental in that meeting. Was the meeting that turned the corner and brought the Septic Health Initiative forward. I know that if Bill Collins were here, Bill who hired Bruce, he would tell you what a treasure. Bill Collins was the town's first planning director who hired Bruce, and he would tell you what a treasure Bruce was to work with. And the post-storm mitigation, pre-storm mitigation, post-storm recovery project was something that Bruce and folks at Chapel Hill did that, as you mentioned, won all kinds of awards. And again, Bruce was the lead author. So, Bob, Webb, Renee, there are certainly folks here who
And I will be brief because, Ben, I think you did a wonderful job of describing Bruce. And I don't know who wrote that or who put it all together, but they did a great job. Just to add on to what Bob said, maybe it did win a lot of awards, but I don't know if y'all remember, but we had a little mascot, which was Mr. Hankey, for those that remember. And the actual group that was working on this was called the Septic Health Initiative Team. And if you think about that for a minute, it might resonate with you what that really means. I can tell you Mr. Meekins with the Coastland Times figured it out fairly quickly. But that was who we were. That was what we were. But the best thing I can say, well, let me say this about Bruce. When I went to Celebration of Life, Cindy, I found out he was a lot different person than I ever knew. He must have just been an awful, wonderful person, everything he did. I mean, just from what I found out from that. But with me and working with him, it was great. One experience I had was with not the SED, but the SPD 20 ordinance, which when I wanted to cut down a tree because it was over my house, I went to Bruce and said, Bruce, I want to get this tree cut down. And he says, you can't. I said, well, Bruce, it's right in my house. He said, yeah, but you wrote the ordinance. And I edited that ordinance, but you wrote it, and it doesn't allow you to cut down the tree you want to cut down. He had a way with words. He was a good person. But he was the type of person that no matter what it was, he was a go-to guy. I don't care if it was planning or something just with policy. In policy, I could give him an outline of, Bruce, help me get this done. And he was a prolific writer, a great thinker, and could put stuff together and present it in a way that it made a lot of sense to me just by giving him an outline. And so I highly treasured and really respected him as a person. And thank you for letting him work with us for all the years he did. Thank you.
Our second award this morning is for the Nags Head Lightkeeper. If you were here, try to remember, and if you were not here, try to imagine how much the town of Nags Head changed between 1983 and 2005, the period beginning 42 years ago and ending 20 years ago. Ask yourself, how did the town get so much right and avoid so many wrong turns during that time? Nags Head has medium-sized houses along the ocean front, defying the trend we see in other North Carolina beach communities. The scale and density of development in Nags Head are the proverbial just right. We have Nags Head Woods, thanks in great part to land purchases by the town, some in partnership with the Nature Conservancy. Nags Head recognizes ecological value and puts resources toward conservation. We have an enviable, remarkable collection of beach accesses on the ocean front and the Sound. Neighbors from other beach towns come to the beach in Nags Head. We had the first and most extensive multi-use path along the beach road, and it took our neighbors decades to catch up. The Outer Banks Hospital and the Outer Banks YMCA are both in Nags Head, and not by accident. We enjoy the services and amenities of the only PUD in any Outer Banks municipality. We were the first to undertake beach nourishment and built the model for beach nourishment financing. And we have what is still, unfortunately, the only septic health initiative. The Nags Head Lightkeeper Award distinguishes an individual who shows significant personal and professional leadership in our community. I hope you're beginning to get a sense that during the time I'm describing, Nags Head was enjoying a truly extraordinary level of professional leadership. Nags Head developed its leadership in project and program financing during this time, including Nags Head Leasing Corporation, our capital improvement program, and as I noted a moment ago, shared town and county beach nourishment financing. We have continued this leadership trend by becoming the first bond-rated town on the Outer Banks. Local occupancy taxes were advocated for and adopted. The town hall, which serves us so well, was built and Station 21 was started. And there is so much more: drainage plans, street paving plans, vehicle replacement plans that were not just planned and put on the shelf, they were implemented by the town. Over the last 8 years, I have come to realize that the culture of professionalism, our standards for customer service, our expectations for exceptional performance in every department were in great part developed during the time period from 1983 to 2005. As you might imagine, Nags Head began to be recognized for its excellence. Our manager became a sought-after voice on coastal local government issues. He served on the boards of the North Carolina League of Municipalities and the North Carolina City and County Management Association. And he served and continues to serve on the Coastal Resources Advisory Council. I'm speaking, of course, about Webb Fuller, who was also for 4 years a member of this board. Throughout Webb Fuller's tenure as the town manager, Nags Head was consistently viewed as an outstanding and creative local government. Webb's role in creating Nags Head as a municipal organization cannot be overstated. Webb hired great people and worked with great people like Bruce. He interpreted to them the town's vision, his vision, the board's vision, and then he let those people do their jobs. Some of the people Webb hired are still with us, still doing great work, which is in part another testament to his skills as a manager. Please join me in congratulating the 2025 Nags Head Lightkeeper, Mr. Webb Fuller. presentation. I'm going to ask Webb to take a seat on the front row, if you may. And I know there are a couple of people who want to speak this morning about Webb's tenure here, and you'll get a rebuttal. Please. Okay, yes, absolutely. Bob, you go to Renee. Renee, will you please?
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners, the audience and the family. Morning, Webb.
Good morning.
I noticed you're sitting way far away. Back in 1991, I was pretty dumb. Didn't know a thing about town government, except I wanted to make some changes. But then I came to realize that the town was really pretty well run, had a good philosophy, and had a good vision of where we wanted it to go. And that's the one thing that stayed constant throughout. Through board changes has been, the board has kept the vision of Nags Head and how we want it to look. And there's one person that's charged with carrying out that vision, and that's the town manager. And Webb did a very good job of that. He had a lot of input, but he also did a really good thing hiring great people to work and serve the town of Nags Head, and that still continues today. But I would actually say I learned an awful lot from Webb, and I'm appreciative of the lessons that he told me and taught me. You did a great job, Webb, and you're still missed today, even though there are times we butted heads. But I'm really proud of Webb. It was an honor to serve with him, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate that.
Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Folks, former resident of Nags Head. I had the pleasure of working with Webb in any number of situations, and it's just hard to, we didn't always agree. He's come around since he's retired. But his vision and purpose, Webb was respected across especially in the state capitol, and did so many things that really helped Nags Head rise above the rest. And he had a good close line. When I was elected, we walked into Senator Basnight's office, and you're in the back room where they're moving big money around. This was when they were doing Jeanette's Pier, and it was just amazing the access that he had and the influence that Webb had, and it benefited the town tremendously. And you put that together with the professionalism and the tenure. I think the average lifespan of town managers is 2 years. And for a long time, that was the best way to get elected in Nags Head was to campaign on getting rid of the town manager. But they came around. But it's a pleasure to watch, to see Webb be recognized for many, many years of service, both in the town manager role, but also as a commissioner. Yep. And he's had that vision for Nags Head and really carried it through and made it happen. Elected people are generally amateurs, but the professionals in management really make things happen. Yep. So Webb, thank you for all you've done for the town and the whole area.
Yeah, I read that the best way to get elected was to promise to fire Webb. The best way to get re-elected was to promise to keep him.
That's exactly right. That was a standard for 20 years. Webb's time and my time pretty much paralleled. He started a little before I did. And you've already heard all the great stuff that he did. If you look around Nags Head, you're looking at Webb Fuller's vision. And I'll just say on behalf of the entire town, residents, non-resident property owners, visitors, town staff, thank you for your leadership and your vision for the town. It's difficult for me to imagine what the town would be now were it not for the role that you played over so many years. So thank you.
Great. Webb, it doesn't sound like it needs to be a rebuttal, but we would welcome if you would wish to speak this morning.
I'd just like to say I am humbled when you introduced me at the beginning as a commissioner, I don't think I was ever a commissioner. I don't think I ever left the town manager role. I got elected one time, but I never left the town manager role. You are who you are.
Yes, you are. That's great.
But I do appreciate that. The people I work with, many of them are in this room. Some that were here that have left, but that's who deserves the award. I mean, I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good people around me, and I could point to Andy, started, Roberta, Nancy, Dave, just people all around that, you know, they're the ones that really deserve the recognition. That's the first. The second is having elected leaders like Renee and Bob Muller and Bob Oates, all who have fairly strong personalities in their own ways, and but great people with great ideas, but willing to work in a common bond for what we all, I think all of us here have that vision of Nags Head. It might be a little bit different in each person's mind, but it's pretty much the same. And I mean, I'm really, you can't, I think it was Ronnie Scott, one commissioner, said, if it's green, let it grow. If you think it's right, you're starting to rot. And I always kept that in mind because you can't stop growth. You've got to have growth. But the whole point is, what type of growth do you want? And how do you want to nurture your garden and everything? And I think Nags Head has had that great fortune of having great leadership in your seat and all these other seats. And we've always had great legal advice from John and Tom White, who I often disagreed with. But he tended to be a little bit conservative, but he was a great attorney for the town.
Great.
I mean, we've had great people. And then going back also with Don Bryan and people like that sitting here, it's just been so wonderful. Lastly, but not leastly, I've had a tremendous support system at home. Wonderful wife, wonderful children, probably the best grandchildren on the beach. All my whole family lives here. They must see something that I saw.
Yep.
So I'm just so fortunate that I'm able to live and have worked in Nags Head and have retired in Nags Head and get to stay in Nags Head.
Yep.
So,
Thank you. Tell us who's here with you this morning, Webb, your family.
Okay. Well, let me see. My lovely wife Dory, my daughter-in-law Sheena, my son Myers, my daughter Cordelia, my daughter Cass, and my two grandchildren, but there's one on the floor. And so
Thank you.
That's who, and the other ones would be here, but they had previous engagements that I did know about. I did not know about this.
Thank you. The board, will you come around and join me? This is their traditional gift to the lightkeeper. This lantern, which Webb I will pass to you, and a keychain, which can be your regular reminder. So keep that in your pocket.
So this is like the French Open. This goes back. It doesn't go over. Oh man!
It's like the Oscar. You
And we are going to have public comment and then a brief recess. And so I will turn it over to Mr. Leidy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, the Board of Commissioners welcomes members of the public to provide comment. This is not an opportunity for dialogue, and the board rarely responds to public comment. But anybody who wishes to comment on anything that's on their mind can do so. You need to approach the podium, start by telling us your name and where you live, and then address your remarks to the commissioners. I will let you know when your time is about up. And also, if you are here to comment on one of the public hearings, you can reserve your comments until the actual public hearing is held. But for everyone else, we will now start the public comment. So, Mr. Muller?
I did not realize I was going to have to get up 2 times before I got here. My name is Bob Muller. I live at 124 West Old Cove Road. I'm here to thank the town for its participation in a remarkable weekend celebration of the 50th anniversary of the founding of Jockey's Ridge State Park. I want to thank the board for their support and for coming out and being part of that event Friday night that saw somewhere between 7,500 and 8,500 people in the park to witness a concert by the Connells, introduced by Governor Stein, and the first drone show on the Outer Banks. But you guys aren't what made that happen. Not at all. I want to salute the Nags Police Department for their remarkable role in making Friday smooth and safe for everyone who was in the park. Their presence was seen but not felt. It was, they were in fact felt but not seen. They were there moving traffic. They were there keeping us safe, and they were instrumental in making the event work as well as it did. And we want to thank them for their help, Chief. We could not have done it without them, and we thank the town for being part of it, such a great part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. It was a great event, and they had a lot going on that night because the carnival was going on as well. So,
Thank you, Mr. Muller. Does anybody else wish to address the board with public comment? If not, at this time we will conclude the public comment session.
all right, the board will be in recess for about 10 minutes. All right, the board has returned and will continue our meeting and pick up at the consent agenda, which you have before you, and a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That brings us to public hearings, the first being consideration of the budget, and I will turn this over to Amy and John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, the board will begin the public hearing to consider citizen comments on the town manager's proposed operating budget for the July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026 fiscal year, the proposed capital improvement request for the fiscal year 25-26 through fiscal year 29-30, and the updated consolidated fee schedule with consideration of the adoption of a pay plan and various other accompanying items. So at this time, we will begin with the presentation of any summary provided by staff through the Finance Officer and Deputy Town Manager Amy Miller.
Good morning. Andy, if you have anything to interject, then please feel free to add.
The only thing I'll say is I just want to thank everybody for all the hard work and staff. And it's been a difficult process this year, probably a little bit more difficult than prior years, just given the circumstances. But everybody has such a great working relationship, a lot of communication. It's been very positive. And so amongst the board and staff, just a lot of appreciation, and to Amy.
Yeah, I find too, I appreciate a lot of the work that kind of went in ahead of the budget with all the workshops we had, because really kind of the end game is that when we come to this point, we're aligned on, and we don't have a lot of changes to the manager's budget. And it really did take a lot of work and workshops and time, so we appreciate that. So we did have some changes from the manager's recommended budget to what we hope might be the adopted budget. And that was a result of the last workshop we had when we found out the other towns had significantly made recommendations to increase their revenue neutral tax rates well beyond what we had recommended. And that resulted, we do a 2-year budget, and part of the benefit of that is seeing what's going to happen with the impacts of decisions we make in this fiscal year. How does that impact what happens in the future years? So what had happened as a result of that is we would have lost a significant amount of shared revenue in occupancy, sales, and land transfer, because that is calculated, or it's distributed based on your levy for the previous year. So whatever our tax levy is for 26, that would impact our 27 shared revenues. And we had, what we calculated, once we found out everybody else's tax rate, a significant loss. So we worked with the board, and one of the consensus that we came to was really nothing else in the budget changed, but we did increase the tax rate from what the manager recommended. His recommendation was 22 cents, and what is in the changed budget, I guess, is 23.2 cents. And with the increase in revenue, what we did was we allocated a ½ cent to the beach nourishment portion of our townwide tax rate. That was recommended at 1.5 cents, and we moved that up to 2 cents, which is about $250,000. And the additional 0.7 cents goes to the ad valorem tax rate, and that is an additional $350,000 or so dollars. What we did was we reduced the fund balance appropriation to balance the budget, which basically we pledge our savings, what we have saved to balance the budget, which that was $400,000, and that was reduced by about $350,000, which again was the amount of the 0.7 cents we added to the ad valorem. I did put a memo, it's on our website, I put a memo in the packet that explains this, but essentially our ordinance changed by about $650,000, and it's not because of the 0.7 cents that goes to the ad valorem, because that just reduced the fund balance appropriation. So really the only impacts that changed to the ordinance are the 0.5 cents that we added to beach nourishment, because that actually goes to our capital reserve fund. So we have to budget that as an expenditure to move that money over to the capital reserve fund, because that will help as we are planning for our next project that we are planning on getting bids for this fall. That will help defray any future tax increases that we might have to propose for that. And then I did put, which we didn't discuss with the board, so I apologize for that at the workshop. After this was posted after our workshop, sales tax now, the sales tax, we actually have to pay sales tax, but then we get it back. So we actually have to budget for paying for it, and then we have to budget for getting it back. So after consulting with our auditors and looking at the School of Government recommendations, I budgeted $400,000. That really has no impact on the budget. It's just an in and out. So that's where that other $400,000 comes from. So I apologize again for not knowing that ahead of our budget workshop, but those were the only changes that we had made from the manager's recommended budget to this ordinance that we have today. So hopefully no surprises, and happy to answer any questions.
Anyone questions for Amy?
Questions? Just thank you, Amy. This looks great.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does any member of the public wish to comment on the proposed budget? This is your opportunity. Does the board wish to receive any other information regarding the proposed budget during this hearing? If not, at this time we will conclude the public hearing on the manager's proposed budget and accompanying items.
Great, thank you very much. It's remarkable in a way, I suppose, and you could take it any number of ways, that we have so little comment on the budget year to year. I think we've had, comments maybe in the last year or two. When we got comments, they were appreciative of the budget. So, you know, I think in the most positive light in which you can look at this, I think the survey that we did a couple of years showed this, that our citizens are generally pretty happy with what the town Nags Head is doing. That we have a conscientious staff who does a really great job of preparing the budget. We have thoughtful commissioners, board members who pay attention to the development of the budget, participate actively in the workshops. And when we get to this point, there's really not much question about the budget. And so I realize Commissioner Sears is excused today. He's not present, but I know that the commissioner had some concerns earlier about whether we were keeping up, but was generally happy with the budget after we made the last round of adjustments. So I don't have any problem with the board taking action, you know, in his absence today. I am happy with the budget. I am more than happy to move this along and for us to vote to adopt the budget today. And I'm seeing nods, so I think we're ready to probably roll ahead with this. And there are a number of items that we need to do. And so Amy and Andy, if you'll pay close attention and make sure that I do all of these. The first is, I believe, the adoption of what in the agenda is called the operating budget pay scale, which we need to approve. And so a motion would be in order.
So move.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the operating budget pay scale. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The next would be the operating budget personnel policy. There is a change to that, which staff was nice enough to put in red lettering for us under the clothing allowance item. And so we have that before us, and a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the amended operating budget personnel policy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The next item on our agenda that we need to approve are the operating budget CIP request, which you have before you, which we have looked at fairly extensively. And so a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the operating budget CIP request. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The next item is the consolidated fee schedule as amended, which you have before you, and staff again is usually kind enough to put the changes in red, and so a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the amended consolidated fee schedule. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That brings it to our operating budget fiscal year 26 ordinance, which you have before you, which we have seen somewhat amended perhaps since we saw it last, as Amy indicated. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the operating budget fiscal year 26 ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. That was an aye from me. I'm sorry. That was I've talked too much this morning. I'm getting tongue-tied here. The next is an amendment to the operating budget for the Todd D. Kraft septic health policy, which you have before you. And a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the amended Todd Kraft septic policy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Oh, can I ask one question to
Yes.
John? The salary differential, I know you had mentioned the clothing allowance. Was that adopted as part of the personnel policy updates that the mayor mentioned? When he mentioned the clothing allowance, there's also the investigative salary differential.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure
It was part of the attachment.
Okay.
Yeah, it was part of
Part of the same
we
action.
approved the whole thing. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I only mentioned that one, but.
I just wanted to make sure.
That was, yep.
And one thing to be clear, the personnel policy amendment was not adopted as an ordinance, it's adopted as a policy, so just to be clear on that.
And I think we've done everything that we needed to adopt.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have a budget. Very good. Yeah, that's kind of a underwhelming response to the, I mean, it's kind of an underwhelming end to a tremendous amount of work and you know, a key thing for a community. And I don't mean to treat it, I'm not trying to treat it lightly. And I really do appreciate all of the work that everyone put into this. Thank you. That brings us to a public hearing for a zoning map amendment for a portion of the municipal complex. Kelly?
So at this time, Mr. Mayor, we will begin the public hearing to consider a zoning map amendment for a portion of the Nags Municipal Complex, the property located at 5401 South Croatan Highway, from R3 high-density residential to SPDC Village Institutional. And we'll begin with the presentation of the staff's analysis by the Planning and Development Director, Kelly Wyatt.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. I've got a couple of items this morning, and they're all really interrelated. I think they're all pretty straightforward, so I won't take too much time in going through them. But as the attorney mentioned, I'm here this morning to ask for your consideration of a rezoning for the property that we're at today on the Town Hall property. When we did the Town Hall Campus Master Plan, we identified some things that we wanted to do in the future, and as part of that, we became aware that with the split zoning of the property, which we had known about, but that split zoning was something that we really wanted to address and take care of, and just have the rezoning from the R3, which is a high-density residential zoning, consistent with the zoning that we have on the north side, which is the SPDC Village Institutional. That institutional district really encompasses what we are. in terms of administrative offices, police department, boardroom, things of that nature. So the institutional district is consistent with what's here on the property, how we're currently operating. So again, just to have the alignment and the consistency for the entire parcel, we're asking that this board consider the rezoning to from R3 to the SPDC institutional district. And what's up on the screen is a map of what that would look like. You can see, I can get my cursor. So this green is the SPDC institutional zoning. This hatched area is what is R3. So that is the area that we're requesting to be rezoned. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. When the planning board looked at this request, they voted unanimously to recommend adoption as well.
All right, any questions for Ms. Wyatt?
No, I think it makes total sense.
Yep.
All right, anything further, Kelly?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anybody here from the public who wishes to comment on this proposed zoning map amendment? Anything from the planning board on this? Does the board wish to receive any other information regarding this proposed zoning map amendment before taking action? If not, at this time we will conclude the public hearing on this item and the board may begin its deliberations.
Okay. All right. Very good. I think we've looked at the master plan enough. We probably all are pretty well aware of what this is. You know, it's just really changing the zoning of the southern half, the part where we're sitting, basically, to match the zoning of the northern half of this property. And yeah, it didn't have to be dealt with till it had to be dealt with, but it completely makes sense, and it's very logical. So I think we will then say a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the rezoning of the indicated property from R3 High Density Residential to SPDC Village. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I think you're going to stay right there because now we need to amend the ordinance.
Correct. Yeah. So these things just go hand in hand. Now that
I'm
we
sorry,
have,
Ms. Kelly, let me just make sure we've opened a public hearing to consider
Yes, I'm sorry.
the zoning text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 9.36, regarding the table of uses and activities for the SPDC district to modify the list of accessory uses in conjunction with the municipal building use within the village institutional zoning classification. And again, we'll begin with the presentation of the staff's analysis by Ms. Wyatt.
Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
thank you. Sorry I jumped the gun there. But again, these two items really go hand in hand. This is just to follow up with the text amendment portion to make sure that the uses that are now part of this area that we talked about, that is now going to be part of the SPDC Village Institutional, that we just have the text amendment that expressly lists that. So what you have before you is section 9.36. This is the table of activities and uses for the village at Nags Head. As mentioned, we have municipal building, including fire station, police station, admin offices. Not too long ago, we added county EMS station. So today, what we want to do is just make sure that we are including all of the accessory uses that are currently on the site to make sure those are expressly allowed. So we're adding language to that section of the code that reads municipal complexes may include accessory usage such as meeting rooms, employee fitness facilities, and telecommunications facilities. So I want to just state the way it's written, these accessory uses are expressly accessory to municipal buildings only. This does not mean that any of these uses, meeting rooms, fitness facilities, or telecommunications towers would be allowed within the institutional district generally, just as an accessory to
Right.
municipal.
Yep.
That's all I have. And again, the planning board also recommended approval of the text amendment as proposed.
All right, does the board have any questions for Ms. Wyatt? All right, thank you, ma'am. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this proposed zoning text amendment? Or anything from the planning board? Does the board wish to receive any other information before taking action on this proposed amendment? If not, at this time, we will conclude the public hearing and the board may begin its deliberations.
Okay. I love a tidy ordinance. This is nice and tidy. This is nice and tidy. So I'll make the motion to approve this text amendment. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you, Kelly and Planning Board. Y'all, thank y'all for cleaning this all up and making this work. And so Kelly's going to stay there now for recommendations from, reports and recommendations from the Planning and Development Director.
There's not a whole lot on this. If y'all have had a chance to look at it and you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Just to quickly highlight the planning board, we looked at the employee wellness facility at their last meeting. I'm going to be presenting that to you here shortly. We also discussed a vacancy for the Septic Health Advisory Committee, which you will also be hearing shortly. We did have some discussion on the town strategic plan item related to the commercial outdoor recreation overlay district. I included some language here about where we're at. There does seem to be some consensus in talking about the overlay district to explore ways to support the existing businesses within the overlay by allowing some flexibility and expansion of uses in that area. Supporting the current mix of uses by removing possibly less desirable C2 uses from the recreation overlay district, which we know we can't currently do that because of some legislation, but it's still a conversation that we're having. Also taking measures to manage heights and development to keep the sound visible and accessible, and to improve wayfinding signage and give that area a sense of place, looking at pedestrian and bicycle connections between some disconnected destinations in that area. So again, it's very early, very preliminary. It's just conversation. We know some of this is not even doable at this moment due to some legislative things that are currently out there, but I did want to give the board an update on the conversation, at least to date, so that they are aware. Beyond that, everything's just moving forward. The Septic Health Advisory Committee did meet on May 27th and kind of finalized that scope that we were discussing for the DWI loan, continuing down the path of how we're going to classify high-risk properties. And I included that in your staff report, but it's essentially all the properties that are adjacent to a water body, including marsh down in South Nags Head. If that property has had a repair or replacement in the past 5 years, it's excluded. If the property does not have a conventional septic system, it's excluded. If they've participated in the septic health program, which we heard a lot about this morning, which was really wonderful, then that property would be excluded. And then kind of the kicker is going to be really focusing on those properties that have an elevation of 3 feet or less. The thought was those properties with that lower elevation, their septic systems may have more conflict with groundwater, so really taking a proactive approach at targeting those communities or those properties first for the first year that we have an opportunity to offer this loan. And then depending on the response from that, we may open it up. But that was what we were anticipating in terms of prioritizing how we roll out the DWI loan. Happy to answer any questions that you may have on that. And that's really it. Sand relocation has ended, but we're obviously still taking dune grant management applications, and We put a news flash out, and I think the Outer Banks Voice picked it up, which was great. We've had a lot of calls and inquiries on that since then, so I think more people are participating just from that.
All right, very good.
It's wonderful. That's all
Great.
I have.
Thank you. I will say for the public's benefit, since we don't have any questions, I'll say for the public's benefit, Ms. Wyatt made reference a couple of times to the downzoning restriction, the inability to do what might be more restrictive or to downzone that was incorporated in last year's state budget. You may remember that towns were responded to that and tried to get our authority back. Senator Hannig, among others, filed bills in this session in an attempt to restore that authority to us. And as we learned yesterday, there's no movement on that. We are hopeful that they are just trying to find a place to put it in a bill that everybody wants. So hopefully it will get passed. But I will also tell you that we learned yesterday that the Senate members were polled about their availability between now and November. So there is the possibility that they would stay in session as long as through the end of October this year. At least they've been asked if they're available for that long. So thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
And that brings us then to consideration of a site plan amendment submitted by the town regarding the wellness facility. And again, this goes hand in hand with a couple of other things we've seen. Kelly?
Thank you so much. I'm going to try to pull up a site plan on the screen for everyone as I go through this. And kind of visualize what we're talking about. Okay. I think that's the best version for everyone. So as you stated, this is consideration of a site plan for construction of a wellness facility here at the town hall property. This would be a 2-story, 3,200 square foot employee wellness center, and it would have 2 workforce housing units on the upper level. And the site plan would include all the associated site improvements that go along with that. The zoning classification is now SPDC institutional. We have taken care of that. We've addressed the text amendment that was necessary as well. So it's appropriate to be looking at the site plan now. Flood hazard, this property is in an X-flood zone, but it is required to meet our local elevation standard of 9 feet. And as you can see, this is proposed to be elevated to 10 feet mean sea level, so it's compliant in that regard. The request is also compliant with the land use classification of institutional and community services. As far as the other zoning regulations go, as I said, we did take care of the text amendment, so this is now listed as an allowable use. For lot coverage, we're allowed to have up to 70% lot coverage. And prior to, I wanted to note that, because this is interesting, prior to doing this site work for the wellness facility, this property was at 44.12% lot coverage. And with David Ryan doing the work on this, with the new site improvements, the new wellness facility, in additional parking done in turf stone, it's actually a reduction in lot coverage. So we went from 44.12 down to 44. And I think that's predominantly because of our, yeah, it's wonderful.
It's great.
So
every bit counts, right?
Good time to plug, also no fill, so no stormwater management is going to be required, though we have the ability to capture that. With regard to height, it's compliant. We're allowed to go up to 42 feet when we have an 812 roof pitch, and we're at 34 with an 812. So architecturally, also speaking to that 812, this structure is going to really show a lot of what we're looking for in terms of our residential architectural design. We have cedar shake, we have board and batten, we have a porch, wraparound porch. We have the 812 roof pitch that's desirable. We really have so many of the elements that we like to see in all of our developments incorporated into this. So we are meeting all the architectural design standards in that regard. For parking, as you can see, the site plan included adding an additional 15 parking spaces. That's more than adequate for the fitness facility, but in anticipation of having some workforce housing above, we wanted to make sure that we had at least one parking space per bedroom. And so we're going to have 2 4-bedroom units. So that's going to require some additional spaces. So instead of trying to accommodate all those spaces here, we looked at it holistically in terms of the entire site. And David Ryan went through the process of recalculating all the parking requirements for our administrative offices, police, et cetera. And so when we look at it holistically, we're going to need 76 parking spaces for all the facilities on this site, and we have 86. So we have ample. So we're compliant in that regard. Buffering and landscaping. There's a separate landscape plan in your packet, but there's quite a bit of interior landscaping that has been provided. It meets that minimum requirement that we have within our town code. I believe it's 10% of the total area of the parking spaces shall be dedicated to landscaping. We would need 320 square feet, and we have well over 1,000 square feet, so we're compliant in that regard. We do have, because we have some residential over here, we do have to have that commercial transitional protective yard, which is going to be 10 feet, 2 rows of planting. So we do have that shown. Some of that's an existing mature vegetation. Where there's not, it will be supplemented. And I will note that we have an existing block building here that goes up to the property line. So the buffering will not be able to extend that far. But I've heard some people say the people back there might prefer to have a block building that close as opposed to something else. But we will make sure that there's adequate landscaping. There's no new lighting being proposed, no new signage being proposed. We do have health department approval that was included in your packet. Obviously for traffic circulation and for stormwater, we're compliant in those regards. Fire, this building will be required to meet North Carolina Fire Prevention Code, and our Public Services Director has reviewed this and approved the site plan as well. So I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. The Planning Board looked at this at their previous meeting and was very much in favor of it. Obviously recommended approval of the site plan, and we're very complimentary of the town taking the initiative to provide some workforce housing above where they could.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Kelly?
No questions. That's great.
Okay, great. Again, something we've seen and been working on. A couple of things I'll point out, again, for the public's benefit. Sometimes people say Nags Head is hard to work with, but we follow our own rules when we do our own thing. And we're very transparent about that. And the other thing is, yes, I will also applaud the fact that our town is taking this step. I think the board is very happy that the town continues to take steps to try to offer housing opportunities to our employees in the absence of any other program. If there are no questions, then perhaps a motion to approve the site plan would be in order.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you. And Kelly, one more thing, and we'll let you sit down, and that's a planning board member to serve on septic health. I think this is an easy one.
It is very easy. So at their last meeting, the planning board did nominate Basil Belches to serve on the Septic Health Advisory Committee. He has some experience here. He was part of the committee who served for the update of the decentralized wastewater management plan. So he was integral to that. He's very familiar with the program, and so that was the nomination from the planning board. And if it's fitting, we would like for you to formally appoint Mr. Belches.
All right. Thank you. I will make that motion to appoint Mr. Belches to the septic health. I'm sorry, decentralized wastewater management committee.
It's the Septic Health Advisory
Septic Health
Committee.
Advisory
Yeah.
Committee. Septic Health Advisory Committee. Thank you. I have a motion to. I made the motion. I got my own second. Never mind. It's been a busy morning. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate all of that. New business. That brings us to committee reports. Bob, anything to report?
Mayor Bob Mueller, former Mayor Bob Mueller, already talked about the 50th anniversary of Jockey's Ridge State Park, and the committee there just wanted to thank the town and the board for their continued support. And he mentioned the first drone show. There was a lot of firsts. There was a first outdoor concert that the governor introduced. It actually called the Red Rocks of the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. There was horseshoes, there was yoga, and there was a pop-up disc golf course that was also very popular. There were 96 people signed up for that, and it was so well attended that they're thinking of making that a annual event. So
That would be cool.
yeah, so
Good.
some very exciting stuff. It was a great weekend.
It was well done. Thank you
Very
to
well done.
you
You guys
and
were
all the
there.
friends. I mean, it was just a really spectacular event.
It was. It went. The committee did a great job. It went very well. So,
Yeah,
so
it really
big
did.
thanks.
So-
Big thanks to them too.
Thank you. And it would be great to have some annual events flow out of that.
It would be.
Like the disc golf tournament would be really
Maybe
cool.
some more concerts.
Yeah, yeah. Commissioner Lambert, anything to?
Ms. Wyatt did a great job with the Septic Health Committee update. I did want to add or echo what she said. I'm very excited about the idea of being proactive and trying to find these high-risk properties. In general in life, we like to be proactive instead of reactive, but especially with septic problems, we really want to be proactive. It's no fun dealing with septic problems reactively. So I'm really excited about that component of it. The Government Education Access Channel still has not met, but we are meeting at the end of this month. And then, of course, we have Roberta's, the Nags Head Lifeguard film that will be showing in July that we saw a little bit of, that I'm very excited for.
Yeah, excited about that. I was not able to attend the the Jeanette's Pier Advisory Committee. Andy, I think you were there that morning. Anything to report from that?
Probably the biggest thing they talked about was the replacing of the sponsorship fish that have been inside the decking for many years. They're replacing the decking for the entire pier with a new material. It's not wood, it's PVC and fiberglass, I believe. And it's going to be very durable and should last a really long time. They've got funds to do the whole pier, and so they're pretty excited about it. But unfortunately, you can put fish into that material, and so they're working on a project to try to figure out how to redo the fish. And they've come up with a lot of ideas, and they're not finalized on what they're going to do yet. One idea was to make a wall on the side of the pier house to place the fish, or to come up with something as a substitute for the fish. But I think that's probably the most notable item that I recalled from the meeting.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. That brings us next to consideration of disaster debris removal, and David.
Yes. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners.
Morning.
All right, so annually the town enters into a pre-position agreement for debris removal and debris monitoring services. The town currently has existing agreements with DRC Emergency Services as well as Debris Tech for each one of these. And those agreements go to the end of June, be June 30th of this year. Within the request for proposals, we give the options to renew those on an annual basis. And so we are requesting to renew each one of these agreements, one with DRC Emergency Services, one with Debris Tech, to extend these monitoring and debris removal services through fiscal year 25-26. Staff has worked with them in the past. Last year we had a workshop with both of these firms up at Public Services. I think we found that to be very useful, and I think we've got a good relationship with them, and the request would be to authorize the town manager to go ahead and execute the renewal agreements with each of these firms.
I remember, David, there was quite a bit of discussion about this firm last year and quite a bit of vetting of them, I believe, during last year's, or the last time we considered them. Has anything materially changed about the company that we should be aware of?
No, it has not. I know the debris removal services, they have performed work all throughout North Carolina and responded to various events here within the past 5 years, as well as up and down the eastern seaboard. So they're one of the, I would say, probably top 5 firms within the U.S. that provides these types of services.
And that, okay, great. Thank you very much. In that case, a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into this agreement would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you, David. Thank you. Appreciate that. The next item is consideration of an appointment to the planning board. You have the vacancies and candidates there before you, and a motion would be in order if someone has a candidate. And hearing none, I would nominate Bradley Carey to fill that.
I'll second that.
Good choice. All right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion then? All right. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you very much. And thank you to Bradley for his willingness to serve. The next item, and I often read these resolutions, that's not required, and I'm not, in the interest of time this morning, I am not. But as you're aware, virtually every year in the legislature, they propose tolling the ferries to Ocracoke, which is, yeah, I'm not sure why they do that. It seems unlikely to happen, and you know, based on the numbers and the Department of Transportation budget, I'm not sure how much sense or how much of a difference it really makes, and it would be a substantial burden, I think, on the residents there. And I think what really concerns them, I spend a lot of time going back and forth to Ocracoke for projects and talking with them, in particular their county commissioner, the Hyde County commissioner. I mean, the greatest concern is what it would do, what the cutting down on the daily visitors would do to their economy. You know, the day trippers contribute really substantially to their economy there, and it would be a burden there. So having this this resolution before you, a motion would be in order to approve this and to send it to the appropriate parties.
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you. Mr. Leidy, do we have any items from you this morning?
Actually, yes, we do. I was asked at the last meeting to look into and provide some response to one of the concerns that was raised by a citizen regarding people leaving beach equipment or beach furniture on the dunes overnight or locating them there sort of in a non-temporary way. And I had several things I wanted to say about this. I know that town staff had already communicated with the citizen about that, and I agree with the town staff's presentation and response about that. Essentially, we're talking about an area that is actually in the dune system itself and therefore not on the ocean beach. It is. There was a photo that was given to the board at that time, and I'm looking at the photo right now, and it shows a bench on top of a dune, which is by definition outside of the ocean beach area, which is an area defined as the part of the beach that borders the Atlantic Ocean to the east and is bordered on the landward side by the toe of the frontal dune, the vegetation line, or the storm trash line, whichever one of those is most seaward. And so this is an area that's outside of the ocean beach and therefore outside of the area that is protected by the public trust doctrine and therefore not subject to public trust rights. The question arose as to whether the town could prohibit this kind of activity or the placement of these kinds of things on private property in the dune area. And the short answer is there is no authority given to the local government to regulate that by the legislature. The authority for that is actually granted to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, and particularly to the Division of Environmental Quality and to the Division of Coastal Management. They have the authority to develop rules. The one legislative grant that has been given to the town to regulate that area of the dune or the dune system is to prohibit dune buggies and motor vehicles from using that area, which it's kind of an interesting thing. I remember when I first came here, I was aware that there was a law that prohibited that. And the town has adopted an ordinance prohibiting that, consistent with that legislative grant. But beyond that, we don't see any clear authority authorizing the town to regulate that activity. So anyway, I wanted to provide that summary of what we've determined about that, and that we, again, endorse the town's position about this, that there is no current ordinance prohibiting this, nor any legislative grant of authority to enable the town to do so.
Great. Thank you, John.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you looking into that and giving us your report.
Certainly.
Any questions for John on that? Yep. Okay. Great. Thank you. That brings us to items referred to and presentations from the town manager. And the first being a resolution in appreciation of David Clausen. Amy? Sometimes I read these full resolutions. I was not going to do that. I do want to note that the purpose of this resolution is that the Nags Head Board of Commissioners does extend its heartfelt appreciation and sincere gratitude to David Clausen for his 35 years of outstanding service and contributions to the citizens of Dare County. But he's been a good friend to the town, and I hope that's what Amy's gonna say a little bit about.
He's been a good friend of the town, and he's a mentor for me, quite frankly. Today, we just did want to acknowledge David Clausen and wish him the best on his new chapter of retirement this month. He is the finance director and the deputy county manager for Dare County. He's been with them for over 35 years in that role. He's provided exceptional public service to the county. And really, he was a pioneer in financial reporting 35 years ago when he set the standard for submitting an ACFR. And to me, that's just always been, you're going to submit an ACFR. So I appreciate him for setting high standards. He actually has served as a model for many towns, with obviously no exception to Nags Head. He hired me as his accountant for Dare County in 2002, and that began my public accounting career. And there's a lot of intricacies in public finance in North Carolina, especially, and I learned a lot from him. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, so you can blame him for that. But honestly, I couldn't do this. I wouldn't be here if he didn't hire me in that role and have faith in me. He served as a mentor for me for over 20 years, and to this day I can call him anytime if I have any questions or something we need to navigate. nothing's too stupid for me to ask him. I appreciate his patience, but one example I just wanted to give was, when we did our lobs, that was the first time I have ever been through that, and that was a year-long process, if not more. There was a lot to that, and even though we had, bond attorneys and financial advisors helping us through that, there are a lot of post-disclosure requirements that they kind of just leave you with a bag to figure out, like LGC requirements and posting on Emma for the kind of reports that the bondholders need to know. So those were things that he helped me with, so essentially helping the town. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge an integral part of our beach nourishment is because of him and because of Dare County. We did our first project in 2011. We were the first ones. They helped us navigate that. They gave us half the funds for that. They also gave us that service supplement. So together the town and the county have worked to set a model and a precedent for the other towns. So I know the mayor hit on it when you talked about the Lightkeeper Award, but really they helped us finance that project. And if it wasn't for him and figuring that out and his mastermind, he really continues to set a standard going forward with the beach funding model for us as we plan our future projects. He leads the county in continuing to increase their issuer rating. They just had it increased, I think, in December. And when they look good, then we're going to look good. So that only helps us because we get rated every year also. So, again, I said he serves as a model. So we use the same financial advisors, our utility consultants, our bond attorney, the auditors. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Let me just say that. It also helps to provide a lot of continuity since we're very integrated with them, obviously, in beach nourishment. And it's helped make it easier for me to make those kind of choices because they have seen success with the county. He just always had set a really high bar, never compromised on standards, so we all learned to rise to those standards rather than him, kind of lowering his expectations. And so I want to thank him for, giving my career here in the Outer Banks, and we really just are asking the board to formally acknowledge and thank him for his contributions and wish him happiness and fulfillment and health in his retirement. Much deserved.
Thank you, Amy. And I know it's been said many times in meetings with you and Andy that, well, Dave, we called Dave and Dave said X, And so that's been important, when we're trying to keep our budgets in line and understand what the economy is doing. If you can recall, I will ask you, you were the finance officer here and David at the county and when COVID struck, and we were all scrambling to try to figure out what was going to happen and what we were going to do. And is there anything of those conversations you can share about how David might have helped guide us all, frankly?
Well, I mean, I think, being very conservative is a very important part of this job. And so putting ourselves in the most conservative situation with, lowering revenues and expectations and things like that, that just kind of helped us. It put us in a good position to always kind of be conservative. I'm not saying think of the worst, but, I think preparing for the worst kind of helped us to be able to come through with COVID in a position that we could have really not imagined. So yeah, I think just being very conservative is an important part in planning for future success.
All right. Thank you very much. I know that we speak occasionally here about our relationship and our cooperation with the county, of which David is a very significant part. Not many counties and their towns enjoy the kind of relationship that we have here in Dare County, and we were grateful for folks like David who share their expertise with us. So you have the resolution before you. Again, that we are expressing to David our heartfelt appreciation and sincere gratitude on 35 years of service. And I will make that motion that the board adopt that resolution and send it to David with our congratulations and appreciation. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
That brings us to an update on the 2025 town fireworks display. All right, Deputy Chief Height.
Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. How are you doing this morning?
We're great, thank you.
I'm excited to talk to you about our fireworks show that'll take place on July 4th at the Nags Head Pier. Show will begin around 9:25 as usual. We do have the rain date of July 5th if needed, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that we won't need that. Special thanks to the McCanns and the staff of the Nags Head Pier for always making this an event that's easy for us to put on and they're easy to work with. Met with Andy last week and he's excited to say the least, as we know, but they're ready for us, of course. It's a big team effort between Fire and Ocean Rescue, Public Services, and Police to put this on. A lot of behind-the-scenes work goes on, a lot leading up to that day, and then, of course, that night, and then a little bit afterwards. So thank you to everyone that makes it possible within the town. I've talked to our technician this year. We're lucky enough to have the same technician from Zambelli to come back each year. We've got a great relationship with him. He assures us we'll have a great show with some different effects that we've probably never seen before, so hopefully we'll have a big crowd on the beach and in other areas to watch the show this year. He's got really, really great imagination, and he does it enough that it works out really nice, so we're appreciative of him. Reminder to the community, we won't be issuing fire permits that night, and hopefully they'll leave the fireworks up to us too, so we'll just ask for that. And then once again, thank you all for continuing to support this. It's just a really great event our community has, and just thank you for everyone that makes it possible.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. We are in fact grateful to the McCanns for the use of the pier year after year. I keep hoping somebody will put them in for a lightkeeper sometime. I think they'd be great candidates. That brings us to the Board of Commissioners agenda. I'll start with Commissioner Lambert. Do you have anything this morning?
No.
Commissioner? No, sir. Sanders? Great. Thank you very much. That brings us to the mayor's agenda. And the only thing I have this morning, well, first I will report that Commissioner Lambert and Town Manager Garman and I went to the legislature yesterday. They are working slowly. We have the good fortune that they are now in budget reconciliation. Both houses proposed, both chambers proposed essentially skeleton budgets and left it to the conference to sort of figure out what the budget was going to be. And we are fortunate that our Senator Bobby Hanig is a member of that conference. And so we will see what happens and how quickly they're able to produce a budget, if they are in fact able to produce a budget. We have several, we reiterated our funding requests that we have before them, which are funds for replacement of our asbestos cement water lines, for the fire station, and for our emergency operations vehicle command center. We pressed those again and talked to them and to our representative Keith Kidwell. They are receptive to that. It just remains to be seen how much money they're going to be given for those kind of things that they typically are given money that they can send to communities for those kinds of capital projects and other good projects. And we will see. We will continue to press our case for those. We also talked a little bit about policy issues. You will recall that there was a House Bill 765, I think, that had a bunch of really toxic zoning legislation in it. That bill seems to have died. It got so much opposition, but we were forewarned that pieces of that would end up elsewhere, and we are starting to see that now. They are taking pieces of that and planting it in other bills as they move along, trying to get pieces of it passed. And so we remain vigilant and we'll continue to make our case when those come up. One of the original bill sponsors, co-sponsors for 765 was available and spoke to us. Representative Brody spoke to us for a little bit yesterday. One of those pieces that we were very concerned about was our ability to regulate parking. And that's a piece that may make its way into one of those other bills, and we were able to make our case about our need to be able to regulate the number of parking spaces. And so we will, and he was receptive, and so we will continue those conversations and do the best we can to protect the town's interest. We also have on the agenda a consideration of resolution in opposition to offshore oil and gas development. I also will not read this one, but it's come up again, as it does. I saw it written in an article that this seems to have flown under the radar. There is a deadline later this month for public comment. When they roll these plans out, you know, they advertise them in the Federal Register, I think. And for the most part, these things do fly under the radar, thanks to Oceana and similar organizations who watchdog this. We were given a heads up. So I think you saw that Dare County passed a resolution Monday on this same topic. We will hopefully pass a resolution today, and that we will then make that our comment on the proposed plan on behalf of the town. And we do urge our citizens, any of you who are interested, and I hope everybody's interested in speaking on this topic. The comment period is open until, is it the 16th? I believe it's the 16th. So please, if you're interested, submit comment. And if you don't know how, check with the town, and we'll let you know how to make that comment. So I would make a motion that the board adopt the resolution in opposition to offshore oil and gas development as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. That brings us, we do have a closed session on our agenda. Before we go in there, is there any other business to come before the board?
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
You recently went to Rhode Island. How was your trip?
Oh, thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you very much. Do we have any pictures that we could show, Roberta? We don't have anything we can throw up on the screen, do we?
There's one on the post.
Yeah, good. Just go to maybe bring up the Facebook post. That would be great. So you're aware that I think it was a couple of years ago, last year, David received the Magoon Coastal Engineering Award. Oral-T Magoon Sustainable Coast Award. Recently, that award ceremony was held in Providence, Rhode Island. David and his wife and son were in attendance, along with David's brother and one of his cousins, and I was fortunate to be able to go and to be there. It was a great event. David was there for all of the conference. There's the picture of the award itself, which is a really handsome thing. What a nice addition to your. Is this my email to you? Yeah. So these were my pictures that I took. Lovely facility there in Providence. David was there for the entire conference. There's David and his son and his wife there. Very nice, lovely banquet. Great food, and we are extremely proud of David. David does some tremendous work for us, but it was really nice to see David honored in that way for his good work. So I would ask, great, good job, David. Yes, sir, you may. Of course.
I just want to share what I shared with the mayor that evening. I don't feel as though this is a personal achievement. I believe that this is a collective effort of many in this room and the support of our community. So I really feel it's an award for Nags Head. And I just wanted to go ahead and share that with everybody because it's an incredible honor. But I think it's just reflective of the efforts of many in this room, many of my colleagues, many of our consultants, but first and foremost, really the support of our community to go ahead and be very progressive and keep us on our toes and make sure that we are doing right by them.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. Appreciate that sentiment. All right, is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, then I make a motion that the board enter into closed session to consider a personnel matter pursuant to 143-318.11A6.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The board will be in closed session. board has returned to open session. Mr. Leidy?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, the board did discuss personnel matters, but no actions were taken.
Okay. And we addressed other business before we went into the closed session. We do not need another workshop or meeting this month, so a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.